My name is Becky Cisneros, and so I was also sexually abused. And so while both parents and a family uncle abused me, my mother's abuse further damaged me by allowing men to rape me in exchange for drugs. And so this trauma opened a door for suicidal ideation. The thoughts of death escalated when I found myself experiencing unwanted same-sex attractions in my late teens. And so there was no support for me, and my options were not promising.
My name is David Alvarado. I'm going to be speaking on behalf of Gary Ingram of Glendale, and on his behalf, thank you for this opportunity. Words cannot express his deep gratitude in the life that he lives. Happily married to his wife, Melissa, for nearly 15 years, father of two incredible boys, life has far exceeded his hopes and expectations. However, throughout his childhood, he felt like a magnet for rejection and bullying. He was also sexually abused by several older neighborhood boys when he was only 5 or 6 years old.
Mr. Jeremiah Shepard with Love and Truth Network.
I don't have just an academic interest in this bill, but as somebody who has actually benefited immeasurably from years of counseling and therapy, some of which would now be banned if HB 2802 were to be passed.
He was drawn to the images of men far more than women. He didn't want to be gay, but there was no one safe to talk with about his feelings. He learned to shove the pain down to get through the day. The depression and thoughts of death grew more frequent and intense.
There was also a lot of sexual confusion. I unfortunately did experience unwanted and unwelcome same-sex attraction that I decided was not for me. This was not something somebody put on me, okay? This was something I never wanted or would ever define myself by, but having these desires that totally conflicted with my own values and the vision that I wanted for myself as the man that I aspired to be, that was overwhelming for me. I often reflect on what a godsend it would have been for me if at that age there had been a licensed counselor available for me to speak to and be able to work some of these things out.
And so in seeking help for depression, I was referred to a secular counselor that helped me identify the abuse. However, when I shared about the unwanted same-sex attractions, she never thought about exploring the abuse's effects on my sexuality. And instead, she recommended that I go out and I have sex with a woman and then have sex with a man and just figure it out.
I've been very blessed in the years since then to have had opportunities to undergo counseling and some deep trauma work, and the help that I have been given and the ability to process many of the factors both around the sexual abuse, the same-sex attraction, all of that has been an invaluable gift.
It was through a return to his faith, a relationship with God, and competent, compassionate counseling that he began to understand how sexual abuse, rejection, as well as physical and emotional abuse had deeply impacted him. It's been a long journey of restoration, but it was through counseling and the support of faithful family and friends that he began to heal from the inside out. HB 2802 would have slammed the door shut on his hopes and dreams in achieving what is now the greatest joy of his life, being a grateful husband to Melissa and father to his boys.
And in 2016, the church I attended connected me with a Christian counselor. And so her knowledge of secular psychology integrated with Christian beliefs broke through decades of trauma and confusion. And so if you've ever experienced the birth of a child, and as you hold him or her, you feel the joy and the hope and the expectancy that it's good for him or her to be in this world. That's what God gave me back through talk therapy.
Also, for the record, despite some of the accusations that have been made today, I can tell you from personal experience, never once have I ever been subjected to coercive therapy or any kind of abusive practices in all the years that I have been seeking help from many different sources. I have never had a therapist shame me in any way or try to pray the gay away or any of the other coercive practices that the proponents of this bill are now trying to smear and slander on current counseling methods under this broad umbrella of conversion therapy.
Never forced to sway one way or another. finding a counselor to affirm a homosexual lifestyle for me was actually not very difficult. I met several of them. It was finding a counselor who was willing to explore and be curious about my attractions and not push an agenda one way or another.
I'm asking you today, please do not consign a young person who does seek therapy to being told that they only have one option available to them to lead their life, and to take away from them the blessings that I have been able to enjoy with the counsel and support that I have sought out.
His greatest regret is not being able to find help when he was young. He would have given anything for someone safe and knowledgeable to talk with, listen to him, to what he desired for his life. Someone who could help him sort through the mess and the trauma. A lot of years were wasted, but he eventually found the support he needed. Thankfully, the only option wasn't gay affirming therapy. He didn't want that. And a counselor was able to help him explore the possibilities he desired for his life.
There's been a lot of discussion as I've listened today about equity, non-discrimination versus discrimination. What about a young person who is still a child, still a minor, they're experiencing same-sex attraction or gender identity issues and they don't want it, and they want help for that? The way that this law is written, the way that it is worded today, that is blatant discrimination against them. It's taking their rights away to pursue life and liberty and their pursuit of happiness the way that they see fit. And in my opinion, that is very wrong.
And I understand that not everybody who experiences same-sex attraction has had sexual abuse of some sort. But HB 2802 would have deprived me from what I interpreted as, would have deprived me of life itself. I would have killed myself.
It literally says it right here. So if I go to a licensed therapist and I'm having these feelings and I don't want them, it's spelled out very clearly right here that such therapist could not even have that conversation with me unless my desire was to pursue an LGBT identity. That's fine. If it's unwanted, according to this right here, that's not even permitted.
As part of an effort to change your sexual orientation
Or gender identity. So, okay, if I'm gay, I don't want to be gay. You don't have to agree with me. You can think that I'm deluded, whatever. But do I not have that right? Do I not have that prerogative for self-determination the same as any person who
I'm not
chooses to
arguing
identify as LGBT?
I'm not arguing with you.
Mhm.
I think you're very brave to come and share this with us because it's very helpful in illuminating it. So for me, to the committee, I think a weakness in this particular portion is that it doesn't ever mention the requirement or the request of the patient.
Mhm.
And I think that's something, your point, I think, is well taken, that there's a disjunction between three main parts of this bill and conversion therapy.
I think he has a point in terms of the language of the bill. So I think that their job is to provide the remedies towards those underlying issues.
Freedom is a luxury we get to partake in this country, including freedom of speech and religion. Denying me the opportunity to pursue counseling that aligns with my religious values and life goals goes against what we hold so proudly. And volunteering for a healing ministry, I've had a front row seat to seeing lives transformed because of an equipped counselor who was curious enough to explore our struggles with us. And so what I would have given to have had this opportunity as a child, it would have dramatically changed my trajectory so much earlier on. And so that's all I had to offer today.
Well, that wasn't just a little. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Mr. Speaker, no, I just want to say I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and thank God that you're where you are now, and thank you for your testimony because this really helps us understand what the needs for the counseling that you need, and I appreciate you being here.
Your coming is extremely courageous, and it's very, very illuminative of the complexities that we're trying to move through.
Right.
And I think it's been helpful. So
you.
thank you, Mrs. Neros.